All right, welcome to day one of 2.3, polynomial and synthetic division. This is going to be a real short video that we're going to do. Most of 2.2 and really most of all of chapter 2, we're going to talk about finding the zeros of a function. And kind of the thing that goes hand in hand with finding the zeros is factors. So at the very top, you can see here I have in green, I have main concepts right here. We're going to basically go over long division, synthetic division, but the main concepts of why we're doing that is we're going to relate it to when we find the zeros. And remember, we can kind of go back and forth between finding the zeros of a function and finding the factors of f of x. All right, let's get right to it. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, long division, you're not going to use that much. It's probably something you did in Algebra 2. You're really going to use this synthetic division more than long division, but every now and then you do have to do it. All right, let's go through this. This kind of gets a little tedious here, and it is a little annoying, but let's get right to it. For number one, if we're dividing this whole thing by x minus 2, this is where I put the x minus 2, right? And I put the 6x cubed. Now, it's very important, whatever you put on the inside here, you start with the highest exponent, so it's 3, and then you go all the way down to a constant. So we put it in descending order, the exponent. So it's minus 19x squared plus 16x minus 4. All right, then we want to get a number right up here. To get that number, we ask ourselves, how many times does x go into 6x cubed? Okay, basically what that is, you can take 6x cubed, make a little side note here, and divide it by x. And this x would cancel, and this would become 2. So that's just 6x squared. Okay, so let's change this to 6x squared. Okay, then once we get this, then I have to distribute the 6x squared to this. So 6x squared times x is 6x cubed. That's what we want. We want that to cancel out. Then I multiply this negative 2 by 6x squared. That gives me minus 12x squared. Now here's where it can get a little tricky here. We are going to subtract these. I'm going to put a little minus sign. I'm going to subtract these. So 6x cubed minus 6x cubed, they cancel. When we subtract this actually changes to a positive because you're subtracting negative 12x squared. So negative 19x squared plus 12x squared is negative 7x squared. Then I can bring the 16x down. Right? I bring this down. Then I do the whole process again. How many times does this x go into this negative 7x squared? Well, if you divided that, you would get negative 7x. And then you do the same thing. Now you distribute negative 7x to this x. So it gives us negative 7x squared. That's what we want. We want to cancel out. And then negative 7x times that negative 2 is plus 14x. Okay, I put a little minus sign here. This cancels. Now, if I subtract these two, it becomes 2x. Okay, then I say, all right, how many times does x go into this 2x? Well, it's 2 times. So I put plus 2 right here. Then I distribute, so 2 times the x is 2x. I'm going to bring down this negative 4, so it's minus 4. And then 2 times this negative 2 is negative 4. And then what winds up happening, these all cancel out when we subtract. So there's no remainder. So I'll say r is the remainder is 0. Now if you divide these two, this is your answer. That's our answers to this problem. Okay, number 2, I'm just going to get number 2 started out, and then you guys can do it on your own. We're dividing by x minus 1. All right, so as I was saying, for number 2, we're dividing by x minus 1. So I'll get you guys started out. We're going to put x minus 1, and we're going to divide it in this x cubed minus 1. Now, the one thing that can get a little tricky here, you can see there's no x squared and there's no x. You have to put that in. It's very important to put all your placeholders in there. So I'm going to put x cubed. There is no x squared, so I put plus 0x squared. There's no x, so I put plus 0x. And then we put minus 1. All right, that's all I'm going to do. You can use long division for that. See what you get right up here for your answer. Okay? All right, let's move to synthetic division. Okay, synthetic division, you're going to like this a whole lot more than number 1. It's so much easier. Now, the only thing with synthetic division Let's see here. Let's see if I can erase this. Sometimes you can't. Come on, I can't erase it. Whatever, no big deal. All right, with synthetic division, I'll squeeze this. Let's do this in a different color. Let's go red. All right, for synthetic division, you can only use this process when you're dividing by, I'll put x minus k. K is a number. So if you were dividing by like x squared or x cubed, you couldn't use synthetic division. You would have to use long division. All right. Now, I said the main concepts here are zeros and factors. This x minus 2, if that's, let's say it's a factor. Okay, first of all, if it's a factor, that means it's going to go into this evenly. You're going to get a remainder of 0. So if that's a factor, then the corresponding 0 for it is 2. That 2, I put in the top left-hand part. And then after it, I put all the coefficients for this 6x cubed all the way down. So I put 6, negative 19, 16, negative 4. Okay, let's leave a little space and we'll draw a line. Okay, this is where I bring down this 6, and then I multiply. So I multiply the 2 and this 6 right here. I get 12, and then I just add and I just multiply. Negative 19 plus 12 is negative 7. Negative 7 times this 2 is negative 14. We add these, we get 2. 2 times this 2 is 4. And when I add these, they cancel out and I get 0. This last part, this is your remainder. All right, you can see how this was so much quicker than number 1. We did the same problem, number 1, number 3. This was a lot quicker. This is your answer right here. Now, how do you know what that means? Since we started with 3 for our exponent, this answer here is always going to be 1 degree less. So this is going to be our answer, 6x cubed minus 7x, and then plus 2. This is our answer. And if I go back up, look, it's the same answer. It's the same answer right here, but a lot quicker. So that's why I said most likely we're just going to stick to synthetic division. All right, number 4, I'll kind of do the same thing I did for number 2. Okay, I'm just going to get you guys started. Now this, if you're dividing by this x plus 3, if that's a factor, then negative 3 is a 0 for it. So I put this in the top left hand. So then I look, this is 1x to the 4th, so I put 1. Now there's no x cubed. Don't forget, if you don't have any of the x cubes or x squared, then we put a 0 for it. Okay, then I have negative 10x squared, negative 2x, and then I have 4. So I'm kind of squeezing this in here. All right, and then this last thing here, that's going to be your remainder. So do this on your own right now. See what you get for your answer. And that's pretty much it. Now here's the main thing. Why are we using long and synthetic division? It's getting back to the main concepts there for zeros and for factors. And basically, actually let's do this. For this one right here, what I proved for this goes, since the remainder was 0, what I proved is that x minus 2 is a factor. It's a factor for that function, this function, 6x cubed minus 19x squared plus 16x minus 4. And since that's a factor, I also proved that 2 is a 0. So this factors and zeros, they're not going away here. All right, so why are we using long synthetic division? Here it is again, zeros and factors, big thing. That's where we're going. All right,